Hello everyone, students. I'm going to try to make this video just to see if this works as far as instructions for a demonstration that I want to give in class. Okay. Normally I would run all this through you, during class, but with the classes being a little large and a lot of you on different, steps of the process, I would rather give you all the directions at the same time, and hopefully this video helps you and you can pause and rewind whenever you want so that you can more or less get the instructions on your own pace. Right? So what we're looking at here are two paintings that have to do with your color tint, right? And the color tint is something that we did with our color wheel paper, right? Our color theory basics, right? Color tint down here. Everyone did a 6-step ladder, which turned out really, really well. I really like the way they all looked. Everyone basically got the concept, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to apply that same concept to a construction piece of paper that looks like this, right? A gray one, not a white one, a gray one, right? And you're going to go on your phone or on your Chromebooks or computer laptops, and you're going to research a type of landscape, right? It could be like a desert scape, kind of like this one. It could be a cityscape, skyline like this with maybe even more buildings in the background, right? Or it could be palm trees or a forest or a mountain scene, whatever it is that you want to do. But we're going to focus on trying to figure out the silhouettes in the things. Okay, so this is the silhouette of the cityscape, and then the mountain ranges, and then this is a silhouette of the desert scape, right? With the desert rocks and the desert hills and all that good stuff, right? So you're going to go ahead and you're going to do research on your own. Once you are done with your research, you're going to check in with me. I'll look it over. I'll say, all right, cool, this is great. You're going to go ahead and draw it onto your paper, right, with a pencil, right, as neat as possible, as light as possible, so that the pencil doesn't really show once you apply paint, okay? And then once your drawing is nice and done, everyone's going to get some tape, okay? And you're going to tape your paper down to the table. And the reason why we tape it down is because a lot of you notice that if you paint on construction paper like this, it's going to dry and curl up because of the water, right? So what I don't want is a bunch of curled up papers. I want to make sure that everyone's paper is nice and flat, or as flat as possible. So we're going to tape them down to the table, okay? So use this here as an example. Once you have your drawings down, right, we're going to make sure that we focus on 3 different things, okay? The foreground of your landscape, right, which is the thing closest to you, right? The silhouette that's the closest, that's going to have the most color, right? That's going to be your first step on your color tint, okay? And we're only going to pull, instead of 6, we're only going to pull 4, okay? We're not going to do all 6 on a paper. We're just going to do 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? The foreground is going to be the one with the most hue or the most color, right? In this case, it's red, right? And it might not look super, super red the first time, but you let it dry, you hit it again, and then it's going to go ahead and it's going to get a lot more bold, okay? That's going to be your foreground, right? Whatever's closest to you, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the middle of the paper, this middle section here. That's going to be your middle ground. Okay? And your middle ground on your ladder, it's going to be probably one of these two, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the background, right? And the background can either be this and this, or basically just this, all right? So on this paper, you can barely tell that the difference between this little border here and the actual paper is a little off. That's because this only has water with a little bit of tint of that red, and that's going to make it that step. This is somebody else's color wheel, right? But if you look at their second to last step, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Their 5th step kind of matches this color here, right? Maybe even this one, actually. I think this one looks a little bit better. All right, so this will still maybe be middle ground, right? But these last ones, this very last section, right? It's going to be your background. It's going to be super light. Like I said, mostly water with a little bit of color in it, whether you do blue, violet, yellow, whatever it is that you want to use, okay? So yeah, that's basically it, okay? 4 steps on your color tint value scale, right? So you're only doing 4. We're going to look for a silhouette, all right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to apply foreground, middle ground, and background, okay? Now, it's very important that when you take this stuff down, all right, you make sure it's nice and flat and it's not wrinkled up. And then obviously we're going to have to take it off when class time is over. and I'm gonna find a place for you to be able to put it, maybe on the wall, tape it back on the wall, or tape it on another table for it to dry. All right, but the more water you use, the more wet your paper is gonna get. All right, so there's an example right here of one that was taped down. All right, and this had a little too much water, and as you can tell, the paper is really wrinkly. All right, try to find that range. Right, get your sketchbooks out. Try to find what works. Is it too much water? Is it not enough water? Right, we all know what happens when you use too much water. Right, on your color wheel. I ripped these out earlier. Right, and this ended up ripping off from this. You can see it right there. Right, that was way too much paint, and it gets all sticky when it dries. All right, we're trying not to really do this. We're trying to find a little more water with the paint so that it doesn't come out as sticky. Now this is a pretty good example. So I would say shoot for something like this so that your papers don't get all sticky. All right, what else was I gonna say? All right, so once you're taping it off, all right, we're cleaning up, putting cups away, putting brushes away, right? You're getting your stuff ready to go. You're gonna peel it off. This is kind of like painter's tape, right? Peel it off slowly, making sure that you're not ripping your paper, okay? And then we'll just tape it back down somewhere else, okay? This is an example of when I took this one off. I was a little bit in a hurry, all right? And the edge isn't as clean as it is here, kind of tore in here, but there's still a border right there. You can still tell. That, I don't mind. This, I think it looks fine. If you can get it nice and flat without ripping out of the paper, that's cool. But try your best. Don't just be in a rush and rip it off, because the paper is going to come with it, and then your painting is going to be ruined, and that's not what we're looking for. Okay, we talk about craftsmanship in this class a lot. I try to make sure that you all try your best and try to be as presentable and as neat as possible when it comes to your work, so that it can look nice and professional, and again, presentable. All right, so taking your time. This isn't due today. I want you to just get some stuff done today. We'll talk about deadlines later in class. I'll set a hard deadline. The definitions for foreground, middle ground, and background are going to be on the whiteboard. I'll try to put them on Schoology, all right? But the color wheel information will no longer be there. If you don't have the notes for your color wheel project, it's on Schoology. Make sure you write that stuff down in your sketchbook. That's vocabulary that you're going to need to use for your unit test or your final at the end of the semester. All right, so hopefully this video helps. Good luck, everybody, and I'm pretty excited to see what you all make.